Hello everyone, welcome back to channel The Ghadiyan Channel. So in the previous video, we had seen the approach that we're going to take to implement the summarization, right? How industry level summarization is implemented, right? How that running summary, existing summary is taken into consideration, right? So today we'll start implementing that. I've also written the code and kept as a backup. If I make some mistake, so then I will take this as a reference, right? So let's start writing the code. So from LangChain, LangGraph dot graph, as usually we were needing, right? What messages state, right? Then state graph, then start, right? That is the starting node, right? Then from LangChain underscore core dot prompts, we will be needing to import what system message, right? Which is the standard kind of a object, right? Standard model that each of the components of the LangChain or LangGraph understand, right? That is the system message. That this message is relevant to the LLM, which it will take in consideration while giving the output, right? With all these things we are already aware, right? Then from LangChain core dot messages. Sorry, this will be from messages, right? This will be from prompts. Prompts. We need to import what chat prompt template, right? So we will be creating some templates. In that we will be sending the messages, right, to the LLM. We won't be sending the message directly to the LLM. We will follow a template, right? If you would have remember in my previous videos, I have already been following this, right? So we will use that also. One thing that will extra come here is LangMem. Okay, LangMem. And in that we will be importing our, from that short memory, we will be importing the summarization node. Summarization node. Okay, so this is what will help us to summarize the messages. Okay, so this is the one that will help to maintain the existing summary, run the hold the running summary, which of the messages have been already summarized. All the intuition that I had given in the previous video we will be achieving through this, right? So basically these four are the one needed, and I have already kept the llm.py, right, in which the client is present to connect to the foundation model. So from the LLM, we will be importing the get LLM. So to make sure everything I have written correct, again come here and take this, all this, right? So all these are the imports basically needed, right? And this one also to maintain the memory, right? Create in memory, right? So that auto memory, you remember automatic memory management, we don't need to maintain from our side, we don't history from our side, right? So for that check pointer memory is there, right? Which will be checkpointing in the lang graph, right? So for that there is an in memory saver, right? All these things we have already discussed, right? So LLM get LLM. Okay, so see now, basically first we will write the code to create the summarization. Okay, LLM that will summarize the messages, okay, after certain intervals, right? Suppose till now, before this videos we were implementing the summarization based on the length of the messages, right? But here we will be taking based on the token count. When a desired number of tokens are reached, so we will send request to the LLM to summarize the messages, right? There will be existing summary and new messages, integrate it and provide the updated summary, right? So let's write some prompts. Okay, so one is initial summary prompt. So this prompt is relevant to when it will be used when you are creating the summary for the first time, right? So chat prompt template dot messages, right? So there we will use list of tuples, right? So system equal to here we will give one summary prompt, right? The summary prompt. So here first we need to write summary prompt that I have already written here, like this one I am talking about. Summarize instructions. Okay. This is the summarize instructions, right? System is equal to system comma summarize instructions, right? Then it will be human and passages, right? Passages. So then finally also we will write when already there is somebody exists, right? Already there somebody exists for that existing summary prompt. So again we'll create a template, chat prompt template, right? So it's something like this. So second, so list, right? List of tuples. System will be summary instructions only, right? Summary instructions and some kind of, let's pick it from here. So this is one existing summary prompt. Don't worry, we'll go through each of. So in the system we will be taking the summary instructions and human will be existing summary, right? There will be already existing summary, that thing, new conversion messages, right? And update the existing summary using the new information, right? These are the new messages, new information whichever have come, update the existing summary, right? And don't remove important user context just because the new messages are unrelated, right? If you see this summary instructions, what instructions we have given, you are maintaining a concise summary of ongoing conversation, right? So these are the things we want the LLM to always preserve in the summary. Okay, don't remove from the server, right? Username is important, right? We want to maintain that. User occupation, we want to maintain interests, current projects, his technical work, technology that the user is working, current goals, important decisions and constraints. So we want to preserve it in the LLM, represent it in the summary, preserve in the summary, right? You already seen like previous video that we kind of wanted to achieve this only, right? That suppose if I am talking to this chat bot and I have discussed something like I am working on this project and I have this interest, we wanted it to kind of hold that and preserve that in the summary. And I can also sometimes ask unrelated, like who is Ronaldo, who is Virat Kohli, who is Dhoni. So that context was getting loosed, right? Our important information was getting loose, right? So that is what we will see, that how you are able to preserve that. So first, what for summarization we are giving the instructions, right? So these things we want to be preserved in the summary, that is username should not be lost, occupation, these things, right? Do not allow temporary unrelated general question to replace the user context, right? Suppose if we ask questions like who is Ronaldo, who is Messi, what is the capital of France, what is the capital of India, so this unrelated general knowledge question should not impact my this short term context, okay, short term memory, getting. So for example also we see this is how we write the system prompt. First we will be explaining, okay, like what we want, then we will also giving some examples so that the LLM can better understand, because it's the kid only, right? So user, my name is Ankit, like if it ties Java backend developer, he's doing this, and later the user asks who is Ronaldo, Dhoni, Newton, something. So summary should continue preserving Ankit, Java backend developer, Spring Boot, Kafka, product services, right? The unrelated general knowledge questions should not dominate the summary, right? See, we are clearly telling, and keep the summary concise, return only the updated summary. So this is the summary instructions, right? This is what we are sending as a system prompt. So we are in the summary, we are giving the system prompt, and this is the initial summary, right? That is for the first time when summary hasn't been created. And this is the existing summary prompt when there already exists a summary, right? So that we will be uploading the existing summary, new messages, and update the existing summary with the new information. Do not remove important user constraint just because the new messages are unrelated. Okay, new messages may be unrelated also, but we have to preserve the important context. That is what we are talking about here, right? Now see, Now what we will do, we will create a class, kind of class state, so which will extend messages state, will extend messages state. So see, this is how we implement inheritance. This is how we implement inheritance in Python. Right? Okay, so this class is a state. This class state is a class that is inheriting messages state. Okay, see, sometimes also I get confused in the syntax. So I will pick it from here. This way, right? So we are creating a class, right? We are creating a customized class that extends existing class messages state, right? Messages state, and we are adding one extra attribute here, that is summarize messages. Remember, we used to have messages, right? In this messages state we used to have messages, right? You remember this thing? It used to be like this: messages, right? Messages, then it was to be list, then list of tuples, right? You remember, right? In the previous video, please refer the previous video if you have lost the context for this. So this is the one, right? So we have created a custom class state in which we have added one extra attribute, that is a summarize messages. Okay, so now what we'll do, we will create summarization node, summarization node that will summarize the messages. Okay, so based on the token consumption or or limit. So let's create that summarization node equal to this one, right? Summarization node. So here we need to mention the model that we are using, model equal to LLM, right? Then we need to mention the max tokens that we can send as a context to the LLM. Let's say it is 4096. Then max, another one is, and is max token before summary. Okay, so max token for summary. I will tell you the difference between what all these are there. Okay, don't worry. Will after writing the code, running it and showing you, I will again go through that. Don't worry. Token for summary, done. It is initial summary prompt, and let's copy it directly so that it saves our time. So, initial summary prompt. Let's again directly copy it. So we have created a summarization node, right? So in which we will be using the model LLM max token. This is the maximum token that we can send as the context to the LLM for summarization, right? Now this one is, it is the trigger point, right? When this much token limit of messages arrived, then send to the LLM for summarization. See how it works. I am telling you. Suppose you were sending messages, right? It reached 1000 tokens. Okay, it reached 1000 tokens. You give it to summarization. After summarization, it becomes to 300 tokens. So now what will go as a context is this 300 tokens plus upcoming new messages, upcoming messages, right? Again it went, again it reached to 1000 tokens. Okay. So again this 300 token summary, that is existing summary plus new messages will be going to summarized. Get summarized. Summarized. Let's say now it becomes after 1000 tokens, right? It becomes 400 tokens. Now again this 400 tokens plus new messages continue, right? I am telling 300 tokens plus new messages 700 tokens, right? Altogether 1000 tokens. So 300 tokens. So summary, that is existing summary plus 700 new messages token. I'm clearing so that it doesn't come 1% out also. Will be going to get summarized, and when it will get summarized, it will create 400 tokens, right? Summary, updating the existing summary, right? So this is what it is there. Now, how much will be the maximum token limit for summary generated output, right? Okay, so this will be the token limit for the generated summary, and we are giving that, yeah, this is the initial summary prompt. Follow it for initially when for the first time you are creating summary. For the first time creating summary, or if existing summary exists, summary exists, then how are we gonna to maintain a running summary, right? Summary, updating existing summary, right? This is there. So in this basically code, we will be calling two times LLM. First times we will be calling LLM for summarizing the messages, right? And second, after summary, we will be sending this summary and the new messages as a context to the LLM. Okay, so this is the one node. This is one node, right? Summarization node. Well, what is the purpose of this node? To create summary for the messages, right? This is another node, right? That will take the existing summary and the new messages to create the updated summary, right? Summary is taking a state, right? You remember the node definition, right? It is taking a state and updating and returning, right? So for what state it is taking? It's taking state for summary of messages, right? Now we will create the chatbot node, right? That will send as a context to the LLM. In that we will be sending the summary messages. Chatbot. So here the state, right? Which variable? This state is the only variable. This created a state variable, right? That same thing is chatbot state. So now for this also will we need to tell the LLM, right? See, suppose this will create the summary. Yeah, this will create the summary, right? But this LLM is a kid, no? Okay, one LLM generated the summary and gave us. How it will generate a summary, all those we already told. What it needs to keep in the summary, we told. How initial summary needs to be created, we told. How existing summary needs to be created, all that prompt we gave, right? But what about the LLM? What is the use of creating the summary when the another LLM didn't use it, right? So we need to tell this LLM, okay, while sending the context, we have to tell this, bro, please consider that summary as a authorized context. Use that to generate the output, right? So for that, we'll again need to write system prompt, right? So for that, the system chatbot system already there. Oh, I already wrote it. Oh, by mistake, I copied the whole word. Oh, I opened the. So we will be right. Let me see. Again, this will happen. This is the chatbot summary, right? Chatbot system prompt, right? So we are telling you are a helpful AI assistant. The conversation context may contain a summarized version of the earlier conversation, right? Treat the information in the conversation summary as information the user has already provided during the conversation, right? Use that information when answering the user question. So what we are telling, there already exists summary, right? Please use that as the context. Consider it as a informative context, authorized context, and use that for answering. Example also we are given, right? For example, if the summary says name Ankit and the user asks what is my name, your name is Ankit. This way, right? Do not claim that you don't have access to the information that is present in the conversation, right? Do not confuse conversation context with externally obtained personal information. Okay, so we are also clarifying it that it doesn't give this time, like if you would have seen the previous messages, previous responses that I had seen, it was telling that I don't have access to the information, right? So do not confuse conversation context. What is the conversation context that's currently going on with externally obtained provision information? Okay, so we are clarifying that for that thing. Now what it will take, messages, let's take from this state of summarized messages, right? Summarized messages. See, what we are taking from the state class, we are accessing this attribute, right? So the state used to have messages. How we brought this summarized messages? Because see, we have extended it, right? This thing, we have extended it. We created a new class, right? Added extra attribute summarized message, right? That is going to consist of list of summary, right? So that thing is that. We will send this as a context to the LLM. Okay. So first, let's see what is there in the summary, right? So print what summary is going as a context. Summary context LLM, right? What is that? Let's let's go for messages, right? Print format. What we want here? We want messages dot type, right? And we want messages dot content, right? Like what is there in that summary messages? Like what is the type? Everything. Getting now we can send as a context, right? So let's again send this one as a prompt. So we will create final messages, right? So in that final messages, right? Final messages list. There will be two things. Final messages will be a list, right? That will be two things. One will be this one prompt that we have written. What is that prompt? Chatbot system prompt, right? Chatbot system prompt. And another thing is the what? Star. Now this we will send as the LLM finally, right? LLM dot invoke messages. Final message, right? And this will give us the response, right? This will give us the response which we will be returning, right? Return messages, right? So that I don't make mistake, I will again come here and take this. Only I am doing this, otherwise length of the video will become too much. See, got it? So this one messages, we are taking the from the summarized messages, we are extracting the summarized messages from the state. Okay, state is a class, from that we are taking the value corresponding to this attribute, right? then we are checking what context we are sending to the LLM, right? Printing it and displaying, right? And we have created a system message, right? Whose content will be chatbot system prompt, right? And in the final messages, we are sending system message and message, right? This is now let's create the graph. So in this graph, basically there are two nodes. This graph there will be two nodes. Let's first write, then we'll speak about that. So builder to state graph, and what state is going to manage. Before, you remember, we used to give here messages states. We are managing state of messages, right? So now we have already created a custom class, right? State class. So we will give that only. Okay. Now builder dot add node. We are registering, right? Will be summarization node. So this will be the first node added. Is the summarization node, right? Then we will also add, what do we add? Summarization, sorry, chatbot node, right? Now we have to decide the order in which these nodes will get executed, right? So builder dot add in. So first start will come, and after start we want summarization node to be executed, right? After start we want summarization node to be executed, and after summarization node we want chatbot node to be executed, right? So this is the thing. So created a state, right? Before we were creating message states, but now as we have extended the message state class, so we are giving state itself, right? Whether I have written here capital state here. So we have added the node. We are registering the two nodes, that is the summarize and the chatbot, and we want after start this summarize node to be executed, and after this summarize node chatbot to be executed, right? So two nodes are there, and what are their purposes that we already have discussed, right? Don't worry, we will again go through the code. We need to create that memory also, right? So memory equal to in memory saver, right? Now we need to compile the graph, right? Need to compile the graph. Graph equal to builder dot compile, right? And in this we have to give check pointer as memory, right? To auto memory management, right? So that each time the new context doesn't come, that thing, right? This time it doesn't message state doesn't get updated. Previous one is only kind of taken, right? All these things we have already discussed, right? And this you remember only, right? This is for creating holding that conversation ID. Suppose I am using chat GPT. In one chat I can talk about my personal life, in one chat I can talk about professional life or anything, right? So there will be different IDs corresponding to me, right? That will tell that different context will be created for each, right? In one I am talking about, let's say, cricket, in other I am talking about dance. So context will be different. So through this thread ID only it's maintained, right? So this will be the kind of create the uniqueness of the conversation, right? Corresponding to this, a different context is there for that. We have discussed this thing, right? Now simply that we'll running the while loop, we invoking based on the user question and showing the output. Right. And writing this down. Let's run it. See, there's a mistake. We'll handle it. Okay, what is the error? Chat prompt about messages. Okay, here it is. And we'll see this. Dot messages. Okay, it is not messages. It is from messages. I think. I guess it will be from messages. Let's see here. Yeah, from messages, right? We had written there dot messages. That's why it's the error. That's correct. The summary prompt. So this is the one, right? See, we were before writing messages, it should be dot from message, right? Let's see now. Now it's running, right? Let's see. I am okay. Okay. Now I am a Java backend developer. Okay. So I am working, let's say, on commerce project. Now I am I'm using Spring Boot and Kafka. I am using, right. So I like dancing and playing cricket, right. Now let's start talking outside the my context. Who is Kohli? Who is Dhoni? Who is Ronaldo? Who is Newton? Okay. Now what is the capital of France? Now what do you know about me? What is my name? Based on the conversation summary, it's able to know that my name is Ankit Dubey. Right. Now, what more you know about me? What more you know about me? See, it knows about me. See how structured why it is giving. It is knowing Ankit Dubey is knows Java backend developer. I am working on e-commerce project. It's clearly telling, right? Technology, I am using Spring Boot and Kafka. Current technical work, I am product service e-commerce project, right? I enjoy dancing and playing cricket. Because of the technical aspect of the e-commerce project using Spring Boot and Kafka, right? So that is how, see, it is able to maintain how unrelated things I talked, right? I talked about the various personalities in the world, some general questions I did, but it is able to preserve the important context, right? Why? Because of this summarization node and clear system prompts. See, this code what I'm saying is a perfect combination of architecture and the prompt. Okay. So both are important to derive the best output from the LLM. Okay. Not only system prompt gonna to help, also the architecture, the way you align the nodes to bring out the best output from the LLM. Getting, so see how it was generating the summary. Let's see. This was my last question, right? What do you know about me? Let's see what summary it is creating and everything. Ultimate. See, this was my question, right? What do you know about my name? What is the LLM? This was the one. So After that, I asked another question. What is it? This, what do you know about? What is my name? Right? Capital of France. Yeah. What more you know about me? See, it directly said, and it used this context. See, these all are the context. Right? Context into the LLM. See, maintaining the summary of the conversation so far. Right? Is maintaining the summary. Right? Unrelated. Having excluded to maintain focus on user context and technical work. Right? And these will are all the messages, right? Who is Newton, this one, right? See, the latest messages are only going, right? Who is Newton, what is the capital of France, right? Latest message, existing summary, and the latest messages, right? This is how we are able to preserve the token also and generate the best relevant output, right? So this was what through the code I illustrated. Now I am giving you a little bit short summary or short walkthrough here. See, so here what we did, we are importing the different libraries, right? We have already knowing about the messages, state graph, and start. What was the new thing here was this one, right? Summarization node. And node. So for by this, will be creating summary. We will sending request to LLM to create summary based on the token count reached. We request to LLM, right? Now all this chat prompt template, right? In template, like it becomes clarity that what is the system prompt, what is the human message to sending the messages to the LLM, right? So this is the summary instructions, right? We have kept these are the summary instructions, right? This is how it has to create the summary. These things it has to preserve. Many unrelated things also will come, but it has to preserve this, right? So this is the system instructions for creating the summary, right? Then what how this initial summary prompt is going to be there, right? For the first time, no existing summary, right? So just the summary instruction and the messages, right? And existing summary prompt, like already there exists a summary, then use it, update it using the new conversation and return the updated summary, right? For this we created the existing summary prompt, and then we created a class, right? We created a class that extends message state and it has an extra attribute called summarize messages that will contain a list of summarize messages, right? So now we are creating a summarization node, right? What is its purpose? Already discussed, right? We are creating summarization node that will summarize the message based on the token consumption or limit node. This is a node, right? That will take the existing summary and update it based on the new messages, right? So model we are using the LLM, we are using the same model, same LLM, Nova Micro only to create a summary. Max token over summary, all these things we have already discussed, right? Now, yeah, we are able to create the summary, but how the LLM will know that yeah, this has to be kept as the important context, right? So for that, there is a system prompt for that LLM, right? We are calling LLM two times. Let me make you clear this thing. Basically, we are calling LLM here two times. One via summarization node create to maintain a running summary, kind of maintain a running summary. Already summary exists, create updated summary based on, right, token, right, complete token game, right? When that token game, right, when max token summary reached, then calling LLM reached, then calling LLM for summarization, right? Now there was another node, that is the chatbot node, that will again call to LLM, giving the summary as the context and new messages, right? These two are the basically main things, right? So we have also given the system prompt that see we created the summarized messages, but how to make the LLM that yeah this is a correct information, we needs to use that, right? So we also given the important information that it has to, if user asks what personal information, that it has to give, right? access to the information considered as a conversation in history, right? Conversation summary don't confuse, right, conversation content with externally obtained personal information, right? This thing. So we are passing that chatbot system prompt as the system message, right? Final message we created as a list of tuple system message and existing messages, right? And sending it to the LLM to generate the response. Then we created the graph, right? Before till now we were having a single node in the graph that was the chatbot. Now we have created also another node, summarization node, right? So we are registering the two nodes with the graph. After the start, we want the summarization node to get executed, and after summarization, we want the chatbot node to be executed, right? So every time when user will send a new question, okay, so first it will go to which function? Summarize function. There it will be checked whether summarization needs to be done or not, existing summary needs to be updated or not, right? That thing will happen. Then after creating the updated summary, then the request will come to the chatbot. It will take into consideration of the existing summary and will generate the output, right? Creating this memory, right? That want I can also write down something this also. So yeah, registering charge here 3 minutes, just convert it, missing within 10 minutes, using the two nodes, right? Two nodes, chatbot, summarization and chatbot, right? Chatbot on every new user input, first summarization node executes, summarization node executes, generate the running summary, and for update the existing summary, update the existing summary, update the existing summary, then request, then it comes to chatbot node that takes summary as the context and give relevant output. Okay. So this is what. See, in this video, what we have implemented is short-term memory. Sir, don't confuse this short-term memory with long-term memory. Actually, this user information all was kind of easy to relate. That's why I told you. This user information all should be kind of stored in a long-term memory, Postgres database, right? Why? To maintain this short-term memory, right? So in the next video, you will understand like what I'm talking this about. What difference between the short-term memory and long-term memory, what approach we're going to do for long-term memories. Then the Postgres video will come, like how we'll be storing the history in the database persisting, right? That's what all about it. This is how we industry level we implement the summary. Okay. So that's all for today. Keep coding, keep exploring. Bhatia Insan signing off.